everyone. It's Charlene from Grace. Of course, I'm not at Grace right now. I am at home. I have missed you guys so much. I'm thankful I got to see some of you this week as I delivered packages to your home. Of course, at a safe distance, I got to see you. And those of you that I didn't get to this week, don't panic. Your packages are in the mail and you should be receiving them tomorrow or Saturday. Inside your big package, you will find a smaller package that Mrs. Pyle and Emma put together especially for each of you. There will be a Bible family card game in there for you to play. There's some candy in there, and there's a really cute card of encouragement with a crayon on it that they made for each of you. I hope you just really enjoy those surprises and goodies. We just wanted to make sure that you knew that we love you and we're thinking of you. Also, I wanted to let you know that next week, Mrs. Blair Salvis, who is our newest team member, a part of the Children's Church team, is going to be doing the packages either by mailing or delivering them next week. She has taken on the first Sunday of every month to be a part of Children's Church, which we are so excited about. And next Sunday, April 5th, will be the first Sunday of the month. So Mrs. Blair Salvis is going to be taking care of all of that next week. And we're really excited just to have her part of this team and be a part of Grace. She loves your kids just as much as Mrs. Pyle and I do. So we are so glad to have her. Also, one last thing before I hand it over to our special guest tonight is if you have any prayer requests to add to the prayer request list that we get every week from you kids, please don't hesitate to email, call, or text Mrs. Pyle or I. We do take your prayer requests seriously, and I haven't been able to see you in the last couple weeks to get those prayer requests, but we have been praying for the ones that have been continual that you've brought forward every Sunday. But if you have any more you would like to add to that, please don't hesitate to call, email, or text us, and we'll be happy to add those to the list. Now, for the exciting part. I have asked different team members to do different videos, sharing a story or a thought or a lesson with you. So you get to see all of us while we're apart. And so tonight our special guest is Mr. John. So I'm going to hand things over to Mr. John so he can share with you what's on his heart. And we just want to let you know that we love you and we're praying for you. And I miss you so much. Love you guys. Bye.
Good evening, Grace kids. So I've got a story for you tonight called A Fish Tale, a story about obedience. Good timing, right, parents? It's time to wash your paws and close your jaws, Papa Chuck said with a smile. Aw, do we have to go to bed now? Cubby complained. Couldn't Buzzy and I stay up a little longer? Cubby, I've allowed you and your friend Buzzy to play for 2 hours past your usual bedtime, Papa Chuck kindly reminded him. You must get some sleep so you can get up early tomorrow morning to go fishing with me. Oh yeah, tomorrow's the big day. We love to fish, the little bears squealed with delight as they jumped into bed. We can barely wait. After the cubs said their prayers, Papa Chuck hugged them and said, Good night, Cubby. Good night, Buzzy. Please go to sleep now. We will, Cubby promised. But the minute Papa Chuck left the room, Buzzy said, Cubby, I have an idea. We don't have to wait until tomorrow to catch fish. Let's go fishing tonight. What? Cubby asked with surprise. Papa Chuck said we had to go to sleep. He won't let us step one paw outside the front door. Maybe not, Buzzy said with a gleam in his eyes, but who says we need to go out the door? We can sneak out your bedroom window. It's only a few paws high. Come on. Oh, I don't know, Cubby said thoughtfully. Papa Chuck said, Oh, don't worry, we won't get caught. We'll be back before he knows we're gone, Buzzy assured him. Well, okay. Quickly and quietly, the bears climbed out Cubby's bedroom window and plopped onto the soft grass below. It sure is dark out here, Cubby said with fear in his voice. Shh, Buzzy whispered out loudly. Don't make any noise. We don't want Papa Chuck to hear us. Come on. They stood up and tip-pawed around the back porch. Papa Chuck had arrived earlier that day to stay with the cubs while Cubby's mother was out of town. Papa Chuck had helped Cubby and Buzzy get their fishing poles and bait ready. They had placed 3 poles and 3 buckets of bait on the back porch. Now, Cubby and Buzzy grabbed their poles and bait. They ran out into the dark toward the pond just beyond the house. The moon was out, but clouds kept floating across it. "Let's fish from our favorite spot on the old boat dock," Buzzy called over his shoulder as he bounded onto the dock ahead of Cubby. "Okay, but slow down. It's hard to see where I'm." Just then, as the cubs neared the end of the dock, Cubby tripped over a loose wooden plank. "Yow!" Cubby cried, and stumbled and tumbled and splash! Cubby dropped right into the pond. The water was cold and deep. "Help! Help!" Cubby yelled. "Throw me the rope, Buzzy." "I can't find it," called Buzzy. The clouds were blocking the moonlight. "It's too hard to see anything." Cubby was not a strong swimmer, and his fur coat soaked up water like a thick rug. He soon began to sink. "Help! Help!" he cried again, just before his head bobbed below the water. Cubby slapped at the water fearfully, and his head popped back up. "Somebody save me!" he screamed, and with all his might he felt his body sinking again. Suddenly, the lights snapped on in the house. Dressed in pajamas, Pawpaw Chuck came running to the rescue. He had heard Cubby's cries for help, but could he get there in time? As Cubby was going underwater for the third time, he remembered a Bible story about a man named Jonah. Once Jonah had been sinking too, all because he had disobeyed God. "Jonah, Jonah," the man sat up. When God spoke, Jonah listened. "I have an important job for you to do." "What is it, Lord?" Jonah could imagine all kinds of special assignments God would want him to do. He could lead a great army for God or speak to the king. Jonah could be a great lawyer or teach the royal children. Surely it must be something great that God wanted him to do. God interrupted Jonah's thoughts. "Jonah, I have a special message for you to deliver. I want you to go to Nineveh and make a special announcement." Jonah's heart sank. "Oh no, please don't ask me to go to Nineveh, Lord," he pleaded. "I'd rather go anywhere in the world but Nineveh," Jonah complained. But God was determined. "Tell the people in Nineveh that I will punish them because they do not obey me." Jonah did not want to speak to the people in Nineveh, but God had spoken clearly. Go to Nineveh. Jonah decided to disobey God. He thought to himself, "I'll just run away." Jonah sneaked out of town. He bought a ticket and boarded a ship heading in the opposite direction from Nineveh. How far do you think Jonah got before God discovered this? Jonah fell asleep on the ship, thinking he was safe. Suddenly a great storm struck. The wind howled and the rain beat against the ship. The sea became dangerous as the waves got bigger. The frightened sailors prayed for the gods of the world of wood and stone, but their gods were not real. They could not hear or help. The sailors feared for their lives. Meanwhile, Jonah was snoring in his bunk down below. The sailors shook Jonah and said, "Wake and pray that your God will save us." "I am a prophet of the living God," Jonah told the sailors. "My God made the heavens and the earth. He is the creator of the sea." Then Jonah confessed, "It is my fault that this terrible storm has come upon you. God is punishing you because of me. I have disobeyed him." The ship was about to sink, so the sailors picked up Jonah and tossed him into the water. At once, the sea became calm. God sent a big fish to swallow Jonah. After 3 days of living inside the big fish, Jonah learned how important it is to obey God. The big fish spit Jonah out of his mouth, and Jonah went to Nineveh. Jonah spoke the word of God to the people there. The people of Nineveh believed his warnings and stopped doing evil things. They started living the way God's word told them to live. Obedience paid off. God saved Jonah, and he saved the people of Nineveh too. Pawpaw Chuck jumped into the cold water to save Cubby. "Hold on, Cubby, I'm coming," he yelled. Pawpaw Chuck reached his strong arms into the deep water and grabbed Cubby's arm. With one arm holding Cubby close to his chest, Pawpaw Chuck swam toward the dock. He pulled Cubby out of the water and carefully propped him up on the dock. Cubby coughed and sputtered. "Cubby, are you okay?" Pawpaw Chuck asked. "Yes, Pawpaw," Cubby said as he coughed, choked, and cried and shivered. "I'm sorry, Pawpaw. What Buzzy and I did was wrong. We should never have gone fishing at night. We disobeyed." "It was my fault," Buzzy said softly. "This never would have happened if I hadn't talked Cubby into breaking your rules. I'm sorry, too." Pawpaw Chuck nodded knowingly. "I forgive you both," he said as he wrapped the cubs in a big bear hug. "I'm glad you learned your lesson. You learned tonight how important it is to obey the rules. You know, we should always obey God's rules, even when we don't understand why He tells us to do something. You can obey God by keeping the rules I set for you, or by cheerfully doing what your parents ask you to do. Keep this in mind next time you're asked to get ready for bed, or clean your room, or take out the garbage. Cubs, obey your parents, for this is the right thing to do. Now, I know during this time it can get a little boring. You're stuck there at the house, maybe with just your parents or your grandparents, your brother, sister, your siblings, and you're sitting there and you might get a little bored at times, and it's real easy to start picking at each other or not necessarily obeying. I'm going to tell you guys, if you do what's right, it helps bring peace into your own household. You have a big part that you can play. If you obey your parents, then you're not getting in trouble. If you obey your parents, then they're not worrying that you're disobeying or doing something that's wrong. And then it brings a peace and a relaxation to your own house, and you can all have a good time together. It's a much more enjoyable environment when you do those things. Today's lesson, the story we read, is centered around Ephesians 6:1. And then in that, you can look it up together if you want to, but the version we have says, "Children, obey your parents the way the Lord wants. This is the right thing to do." That is a lot to say about what the Bible teaches about obeying. Obeying is a good thing, and sometimes it's difficult, but you can do it. Have a good week, kids. We look forward to seeing y'all soon.